What's going on, everybody? I just want to start the video by saying I absolutely snapped, bro. You would think that I gave my big brother the controller and asked him to play for me, bro. I don't have a big brother. This is actually me. What's going on, guys? So, this topic of this video is actually video games being a luxury and how it's just affecting us. The funny thing is, man, one of my subscribers, Yo Rob T, actually pretty much bar for bar said the title of this video because he literally said gaming is a luxury and I don't like that. That's exactly how I'm feeling. So there's a lot. I got so much data, you guys. Like I might need to make a part two. Not too sure. Might just talk and yap all the way to the end. But I think we're just gonna have to get started. And the first thing is $70 games. Now, a lot of people think that $70 games happened last year, but I think that's when we just started getting used to it. Crazy thing is, I Googled it, and the first $70 game was actually 2K, NBA 2K21, I believe. And that came out in 2020. And that's about 5 years ago. Well, almost anyway. It was August 2020. Doesn't matter though. So we have all the 2K fans to thank for just saying screw it and paying that $70 because there's no way in hell I was paying $70 a game. The first $70 game I bought, honestly, not much better. Street Fighter 6. What a boy. For a game that only gives you about 16 characters to start and then sells you DLC for 30 extra dollars on top of it. That's an easy $100. And Street Fighter is a game that we all know they're going to have three different iterations of one game at bare minimum. Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter Arcade Edition. So no, I should have knew better. I mean, look at all the versions of Street Fighter 2 for crying out loud. Even on the, Capcom old but gold bundle deals they got going on, there's always a different version of Street Fighter 2 and it's not the best one they give to you. So my favorite Street Fighter 2 from back in the day is in my version of back in the day is on the Xbox 360. It was a Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD remix for the Xbox 360. It was on the arcade, no disc, digital only. And that was my most favorite version of Street Fighter 2 all the way up until I think it was about what, maybe 2022-ish? And they got Ultra Street Fighter 2. And basically that version is my favorite because it's the newest version and it has I think it's Angry Ken. It's not Evil Ken, but it's like Enraged Ken. So basically Evil Ryu, but Ken version. That was pretty cool. But getting back on topic, that's just me saying Street Fighter is one of those games, and I should have knew damn well not to do that. $70. But we just got used to it last year, right? And then boom, Nintendo, $80 games, guys. Now we had rumors of GTA 6 possibly, costing $100, but that was still speculation. But Nintendo just made them so empowered. They just feel so empowered now to do it. I know they do. I can understand. Nintendo wants you to pay $80 for pretty much all their AAA games, minus maybe one or two a year or something. Because we know Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart 9 is $80. Okay, so Kirby Air Riders, man, I gotta talk about that. $80, bro. So I was looking forward to Kirby Air Riders because I never thought it was gonna come out in the first place. So I'm like, I'll just play Kirby Air Ride on my GameCube later and call it a day. But guess what? Kirby Air Riders came out. I was like, hey, so cool. And then $80. And I'm like, okay, I don't care. I genuinely don't care now. So that's just the one game. Donkey Kong Country Bonanza, whatever it's called. That it looks great. It costs $70. And I'm not gonna lie, if any company deserves to actually charge $70 for their games, I would give Nintendo that limelight in that spot. But $80 is $70 is already pushing it. Let's just be honest. If Nintendo was just following suit and saying, yeah, okay, let's go, we want to get money too. Okay, just like the paid online subscription. Okay, whatever. They charge $20 a year. That's fine. I know PlayStation did the same thing, and then they start charging 60. But regardless, I digress. And that's another thing. They're going to raise the price on that online service. I guarantee it. Because the fact that they're willing to charge $80 and actually feel confident about that, no, dude. No, sir. Don't disrespect us, man. But that's just one part, right? $80 games is a whole video on its own, but we got to let the show go on. Battle passes. Now, battle passes obviously aren't a bad thing. because it does give you extra things and battle passes. So where battle passes became more of a bad thing than a good thing was when you paid for games, you know, like the new Black Ops 6 or just Modern Warfare, the new Modern Warfare, right? And it's not bad. It's fun to have it, but it's kind of like this game. Battle passes belong in free to play games, okay? Fortnite, okay? You know, and other games like Marvel Rivals. That's all good and dandy, but now these pay games are offering battle passes. So a $70 game like Black Ops 6, and then you're gonna pay for that, and then you're gonna pay $20 for the battle pass, and that's $20 every season. So every 3 months or so, or maybe even 2 months, that's $20 here and there. Now the stuff they give you is pretty cool, so I'm not gonna sit here and rag on them too much, but it's just another form of monetization that no one really asks for. And battle passes actually de-incentivize companies from actually making free to play, free to earn things more like cooler than the things on the other side. Now watch this final kill cam. That was me. I couldn't tell you, bro. I was like, what? The game's over? And then I found out it was me who did it. That was so cool, bro. I was kind of snapping. I've always liked this gun on this Call of Duty. I always loved. That's actually one of my favorites because it does high damage and it's semi-automatic. So it's pretty much just a big pistol with more damage. I like it. You know, there's no recoil in real life. So, or in the video game. But nah, dude. So that battle pass stuff is cool, but like I said, it kind of pushes the line when it comes down to it. But that's not even the biggest thing I really care about. Cause I guess I'd rather have a battle pass than like a system. What's that thing called? Like the gambling version, where you get like just loot boxes. Exactly. So yes, definitely. Overwatch was awful with loot boxes, bro. Like I did pay for them back in the day, but I would get so many reruns of the same item. It just wasn't funny, bro. It wasn't fair either. But let's move on, guys, because we got a lot to talk about. $20 skins. My word. Now, we all know that this is supposed to be something that doesn't help you in the game, and it's just supposed to be for fun. And most of the time it is, like with the Fortnite, with the Naruto, and the Dragon Ball Zs. I will sit here and tell you right now, I bought those, bro. I love anime, and I love Goku and Naruto. So when I saw those guys in the battle, not the battle pass, but when I saw them in the shop, I was like, bro, this is the $20 skin I'm buying today. Like, for real. But the funny thing is, with Fortnite, skins aren't necessarily $20. You usually get more for your buck, and V-Bucks cost less than the actual real monetary counterpart. Like 800 V-Bucks is not $8. It's actually less than that. But that's just cool. That's the good part. But other games have $20 skins, and unfortunately, that's just become a normal thing in the industry. Like Overwatch, Oh man, I used to drop some dollars on Overwatch back in the day, bro. I was a fanatic, bro. I loved Overwatch back in the day. And I love Marvel Rivals today. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I have definitely not purchased a battle pass. I haven't purchased I did purchase one skin with the Venom symbiote, the winter one. I like how that looks so much. It's pretty cool. But moving on from that, it's just not cool. But let's just keep going. Right? Oh man, pay to win, bro. I know a lot about that one, dude. I used to play Genshin Impact heavy. Cause that's basically the loot box effect. Like they don't have actual loot boxes, but what they do have is like pull rates. And, they do the 10-star summons, not the 10-star, but the 10 times summons. So if you summon 10 times, you're going to get a 4-star or higher, at least one of the times. And it's usually just one of the times. But trust it. And then it's usually going to be a Favonius blade, and I always hated that. Probably got like 15 Favonius blades in my inventory. It's just not fair. Because 4-star weapons and 4-star characters are in the same pull rate, Like you will get weapons even if you're doing a character banner. And you will get weapons if you're doing a weapon banner. And you might even get a character in a weapon banner. So sometimes it's more like, why is it even existing? And the thing that really gets me, bro, I swear. So there's this 5-star weapon banner, right? And it coincides with the character banner. So there's a character banner for 5 stars, and then there's a weapon banner for 5 stars. So the characters that are there and the weapons that are there are specifically made for that character, right? And what happens is in the weapon banner, there's 2 weapons, 5 stars, and then You can actually select which one you want more than the other. So the cool thing about that is that yeah, you like if you're going to get a 5 star, you're going to get the one that you selected, right? No, what happens is if you select a certain weapon and you get the 5 star weapon, but it's the other one, then the second time you get a 5 star weapon, it's going to be the weapon that you choose. In in my history, in my experience, don't select the one that you want. You need to select the one that you don't want because it's basically telling the game you want this weapon so bad that they're going to intentionally give you the weapon that you don't want, and then you're going to still try to pull and summon and maybe even pay for some, I was about to say chrono crystals, for some prima gems. That's Dragon Ball Legends, but you're gonna pay possibly for some prima gems and summon for that weapon again. So they give you the wrong one on purpose, and I say it with all my heart. I know they do it. It's happened to me so many times, and then when I don't select it, and I can select the opposite, I got the one that I want. So I'm like, that's kind of scummy, bro. But hey, but that's not it. The pull rate is always atrocious for anything 5 star, right? So in Genshin Impact, it will get you. Now, let me tell you, I have to break it down just a little bit because the way they do it is they try so hard and they honestly do a good job. So when you play the story, I don't have enough time for that stuff. I stopped playing. But when you play the story, you gotta do all these missions. You gotta be with the character of that area, and you're gonna be with that character for a long time. The most famous example is Kamisato Ayaka. It's just blue haired girl that's like a really nice person. She's really sheltered. She can't even go out and have fun very often. But when she does, she just so happens to hang out with you. And for that reason, you're like, oh yeah, me and Kamisato Ayaka went to go see the fireworks. We had a great time. And now I would like to play as her. And they do let you play as her in the mission, of course. But if you want to have her as a character, then you're going to summon. You have to, you can get the free Prima Gems, but those free ones are only going to do you so much. And you're probably not going to get her. So for that reason, you probably want to pay for her if you have the disposable income, of course. And if you are, if you want her that bad as a character. And did I? No, I didn't. I just got her, luckily. But it doesn't matter. I've paid for others. I'll tell you right now, I paid for the Raiden Shogun, and I've paid for Shinhei. And I've also paid for Venti. Because I needed those characters. I thought I needed them. Makes the game easier, but regardless. So let me just go ahead and get to the other part. When you summon the 5 star characters, right? So you have a rate of 0.6% up to 1.6% with pity. Well, with pity, you'll actually get the character for sure. It's the same thing as a weapon. So if you even get that 0.6% chance, period, to even get that character, a 5 star, anything in the character banner. If you miss it the first time, then the second time you get a 5 star character or anything, it's going to be that character you pulled for. That means you might have to summon up to 200 times. Because within 100 pulls, 100 summons, you will at least get a 5 star something. But you might have to summon up to 200 times. And you have to use 160 Prima Gems to summon one time. 1600 to summon 10 times. And I'm going to tell you right now, $10 does not equal 160 Prima, 106, 1600 Prima Gems. It does not even come close. $10 is more like maybe 700 Prima Gems? Something like that. You're going to be paying about $20 to get a full pool. So already, the disparate Prima Gem is worth more than one Prima Gem is worth more than one penny. So I'm not even going to do that math, but you can already understand how much money that you're going to be paying if you want a character. That's hard. And then you have a 0.6% chance up to 1.6% chance to get that character. It's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good. So that's another way that gaming is becoming a luxury, but I really mean it in the sense of the whole, oh man, $80 games. And I mean, but all these things add up though, all these things add up. But for free to play games like Genshin Impact, I'm not going to hit them too hard. I'm just putting it out there that these are methods that video games use to get you to like want to get to pay money, to really just to pay money for a game. Extra money that you really shouldn't have. But if we're going to stick to the actual anti-consumer stuff, the real deal, oh yeah, I got one for you. DLC for the true ending. That is probably the one of the most disrespectful ways that you can ever treat a gamer. And my earliest memory of this is the DLC for Asura's Wrath, a genuinely masterpiece 10 out of 10 cinematic game that rivals God of War when it comes to cinematics. It is so cool. That game is so great. It's basically as if the main character was Broly, but he had a good reason to be so pissed off. And he just goes through the game defeating God after God after God because they gods betrayed him. And you get to the end and he wins, bro. And then you kind of notice that the game ends, but it's like, what about the loose ends type of thing? And then there's the DLC. And the DLC not only has a loose end, but it basically has a whole other thing to where the main character's daughter gets kidnapped and all type of stuff happens. And it's a whole lot more than just a loose end. It's the true ending. That's really what it is. And and that's the scummy part. But if they put that in the regular game and the rest of the DLC was just DLC like it was supposed to be, there's DLC where he fights Ryu and Akuma. And then Akuma transforms into Oni. And then they fight and they actually have Street Fighter 2D battles. And it's like, whoa, this is so cool, bro. And if that was the DLC and that's it, okay, whatever. I wouldn't even be talking about it. But the fact that they hid the true ending behind the paywall after you already paid $60 for the base game anyway? Come on, dude. That's messed up. And I love that game. And the only reason I even found out it had DLC was because I seen it on YouTube in class one day when I was in like 10th grade, because I didn't have any DLC ever on. I never had a single ounce of DLC until how long? Until like the PS4 or something, dude. Like the legitimate, yeah, the PS4, maybe like in the middle of the PS4 era. So that was already a big deal right there. So I'm over here like, okay, so yeah, I didn't know about Asura's Wrath, I'll tell you that. But yeah, long story short, dude, golly, that's another thing. Now let's get on to the next thing, brother, because there's a lot. So, I was talking about online games like Genshin Impact, right? Stuff like that, okay? Makes sense, right? Okay, so Genshin Impact, I'm going to talk about that a little bit because online servers, right? Nobody really thinks about it, but they pay for these things. They pay for these loot boxes or loot box like systems, and they pay for all these skins, and then the system shuts down one day. And then out of nowhere, your $2,000 that you probably spent in that game, which is kind of a stretch, but some people it's not a stretch. There is a thing, such thing as a whale. And $2,000 that you might have put into a game is now nothing. The servers are down. You can't even get back on unless you get like some people who really love the game, like they did with Dragon Ball Online, and have their own personal private servers on to where you can still play the game. And I haven't played Dragon Ball Online, but I kind of wish it did flourish. It looked really cool. But and just to say, I did not put $2,000 into Genshin Impact. I'll be straight up with you. I put about maybe $600, which is already a lot. This is a lot. Over the course of maybe 2-3 years, I did put like at least 500, 600 max, and that's just me being honest. But yeah, there's a lot of things, guys. That servers will shut down one day and you will not get your money back. So just know what you're putting your money into. And if we're speaking about online games, we're actual anti-consumer practices is the fact that Nintendo is trying to make it to where you need to have online for everything, because you're going to need to download the game even off of the cartridge itself. Now this isn't for every game, but the fact that it's even for some games, period. It's a cartridge. What is it there for if it's just a key to download a game, even if it's just 10%? That 10% is going to climb to 20 and 30, then 100. You know, one of these days it's going to climb to 100% of games is going to be download only. And then guess what? Every game's going to be $80. We understand the long game. We understand that we can think into the future. We understand this. We're not dumb. So voting with your wallets is very important, and I'm actually still thinking about that. I don't think I'm getting a Switch 2, man. It really hurts to say that, because I love Nintendo. emulation is about to be the way for me, my boy. But so, anyways, let's get on to the next part, right? Paid subscription for using your own Wi-Fi to play the game, or even chat with friends. Nintendo is doing this. I believe Xbox did this as well. I think, I'm not sure, but I know I could have sworn as well PlayStation does this. So I don't really think it's like a new thing. It's like, oh, well, you want to speak to your friends online, even though it's your Wi-Fi that you pay for. Well, you're gonna have to pay us a convenience fee. I mean, it's not like you're using Discord, even though Discord finally did make its way onto PlayStation. But still, it's just, I don't like that, man. It's not cool, bro. Not cool. I mean, we're paying our own Wi-Fi. You're not paying our Wi-Fi. I mean, if you could partner up with like maybe AT&T or something and get like a discount for all PlayStation users or something, then maybe we could actually appreciate it a little bit. But screw off, honestly, in all seriousness. Like, that's just rude, disrespectful. But that's just one little thing. We're going to get on to the next. Nah, we're talking about online only, huh? Just earlier I made that point, how we have online only games and whatnot. Oh yeah, I think I remember there's this one thing called a PS5 Pro. Now let's get to the very beginning of this instead of skipping to the end. So when the PS4 Pro came, oh no, when the PS4 came out, right, it cost $400 at launch, right? When the PS4 Pro came out, the PS4 was like $300, and then the PS4 Pro was $400. So they replaced the price of the PS4 with the PS4 Pro and made that the new base price. And you know what they gave us with that? They gave us 4K gaming and then also 4K Blu-ray player. We could genuinely have a genuine upgrade. It wasn't just, it was also GPU, of course. That's why you see that triple cheeseburger stack thing they had going on. It was funny, but it was legitimate. It was legitimate. It was awesome too. Now, with the PS5, we have all this cool stuff with the 4K and all that stuff. And guess what the PS5 Pro has? Well, it has about 28% faster loading times and, you know, more teraflops and stuff. And what else does it have? Oh yeah, I think that's actually it. Well, I guess what it has more is the price. I mean, PS5 costs 500 and the PS5 Pro costs 700. Interesting. It does have more of money that you have to pay for. That's pretty interesting. And what else does it have? Oh, well, I think that's it actually. It sure doesn't have a disk drive though. So it's like you have to pay $80 for a disk drive and then you got to pay $30 for a stand. These guys are doing the Apple's practice to where they're not adding a charger in the box anymore, but they're going to make you pay for it. So thank PlayStation for at least having the gall to make you pay for things that should already come with the system. So you actually, so if we're being honest, the PS5 Pro doesn't cost $700. It actually costs $810 before taxes. Because who's not going to buy that $30 stand because you don't want your PS4 5 Pro, you don't want your $700 machine to fall, right? And then who's not going to pay for a disc drive? Well, you don't want your $700 machine not to play the disc library that you've already collected over the years of the PS5's life, right? Okay, that's what I thought too, right? But that's not it, right? We're going to go a little bit further and actually notify that the disc drive to the PS5 Pro isn't usable if you are not connected to Wi-Fi. What? Oh my gosh, the anti-consumer practices is just out of this world, bro. Like, I know we're doing a push for online, but it's like, instead of giving us genuine reasons, like making things cheaper when you buy them online, they're making things more expensive to not buy things online. And it's like, dude, that is not, like, we're looking at people who want more money in their bank account. I mean, the only way I can honestly be like, okay, I get it, with all these anti-consumer practices from at least the Japanese company, is if they're trying to build a real-life Gundam that actually works. Because if you build a Gundam, just don't blow up my city, please. But if you do build a Gundam, then I understand where the money's going. I would at least be like, okay, they had a real plan. They're not just trying to hoard money just for the sake of having it on a digital screen saying, you have $100 billion. Like, no. They actually have something going on. They bet, okay, but that's not happening. So that's besides the point. So yeah, man, we went through a lot of stuff, guys. We went through a lot of stuff, and I think the last thing I want to add is the fact that this is the. If I were to have just started and ended this video in 1 minute, I would just say this: anti-consumer practices in the gaming space is so powerful for the simple fact that a 1080 GPU, NVIDIA GPU, the original price was $600 way back in the day. Well, today, the price of a 5080 GPU, which is the newest one that just came out months ago, the price of a 5080 GPU is $1,300. And if you want to go back to the latest one, the second latest, the 4080 GPU costs $1,200 at launch. So we somehow got from $600 for a GPU all the way up to all the way up to $1,300 for a GPU, more than doubling the price of a new GPU. And we wonder why Nvidia stocks went up by like literal crypto market standards within the past couple of years, because they just kept charging it. People kept buying it. So these anti-consumer practices are all over the place. I just had to mention that, but it all adds up. That's really what I'm trying to say. It all just adds up. I think I talked about pay to win. Yeah, if I didn't, then Genshin Impact is a perfect example, because yeah, there's like females in the game that look nice and everything, but there's characters with different movement options that they can like literally scale walls and just walk up walls when other people have to climb. There are characters that literally fly up, like the Wanderer. He just literally flies, you know, and he can get to places that other people can't. I actually have a video on my other channel about that, but that's just a niche. And then another one has a motorcycle. You can just ride on a motorcycle, and other characters have to walk. And other people can skate and walk on air, or not air, but walk on water or run on water, like Kamisato Ayaka, the girl I was talking about earlier. And you know, other people can't. So, and that's just movement options. That's just mobility. There's actual fighting mechanics that make them more powerful, but I can leave that alone. I think we all understand pay to win is real. And I just wanted to give you guys all these different versions of anti-consumer practices that's just existing in the space right now. So it's so weird. It's just so weird, dude. Like I said in my earlier videos, man, I might just stick with my old library, you know, play the games I actually own but never, like, you know, actually went out of my way to beat. And then on top of that, if I really get that far, I just stick with the mods, dude. The modded games, you know, modded Xenoverse, having Super Saiyan 4 Kid Gogeta in the game. I know somebody made them. You know, I'll just stick with that kind of stuff. I might start getting heavy into the mod. I might just say, screw it, I'm gonna play Bomb Rush Cyberpunk and just have Broly on a skateboard, you know? Because, like, that's enough for me. That is enough for me, bro. I don't need all this extra stuff. Like, it's cool to have the extra stuff, but it's just, how far are you gonna go and reach into my wallet? And I think the answer is until I have nothing left. And that's a disrespect I'm not willing to take lying down, bro. So, for that reason, if I get the Switch 2, be very surprised. That's all I can say. Just be very surprised. But with that, I really hope you guys enjoy listening to me yap a lot, because that was actually a sweat. That was quite a session. That was like an episode right there. I thought my other video was the longest one, but here we are. Sir Yap a Lot Gaming is signing out, and just to make sure, if you have anything to say, make sure and say it in the comments. You know what I mean? I think we're all feeling the same way, and if we can spread this type of awareness, then like, just to let everybody know how crazy the gaming space is getting. Because it started off as a humble beginning. It's like, okay, play a game in the arcade. And then when it went from there to the home consoles, Nintendo, judging by inflation, actually did charge the most for their Nintendo. The original Nintendo actually cost the most out of all of their systems. But the reason for that, well, because like with inflation, I saw this chart, right? I think the original Nintendo was like $531 when it comes to adjusting for inflation. But I can understand them, because that was their first console. They had to recoup their money for real this time. They didn't have like a whole lot of money in the past. Like, they sold playing cards, but that's about it. But now it's the Switch 2's turn to be that extremely. It's not even the price of the Switch 2. It's just the price of the games. It's just the price of the games. I don't mind paying 450 for a 4K console. That's pretty damn cool. Okay. But thanks, y'all. I really appreciate y'all watching, man. I really appreciate y'all listening to me yapping. And like I said, if you have any comments, go ahead, put them down below. Put them down below. Let's have a discussion and let's really see how we all feel about this. All right, y'all. Take it easy. Have a wonderful rest of your day, okay? See you later. And hopefully, we can change the space with our dollar by voting with it.